You're watching Talk with Audrey? Welcome. This is Talk with Audrey. Whole Brain Leadership's New Rules of Engagement for the C-Suite. It's a report from Accenture Strategy, and they've identified a new group of influential stakeholders with the power to destabilize business. Joining me with the details, Katherine Lavelle, Managing Director, Global Talent and Organization, North America Lead at Accenture Strategy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Katherine, what prompted the survey?
Well, we're always looking at topics of interest to company leaders and to see what they need to do to be successful with their various constituents.
So, what exactly is whole brain leadership?
Sure. So the idea or the metaphor is actually that the left brain skills are the traditional skills that business typically applies around topics that are very logical. So things like data, analytics, finance, tough decision making, visioning. And we're saying that actually leaders need to think with the right side of their brain as well in topics like innovation, creativity, self-awareness, relationship building, and negotiation. Together, those bring about a whole brain approach to leadership.
Then leadership is left side and everybody else is on the right. Well, it seems to me that it takes both to run a successful business and to be successful in business.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Audrey. It's and, not or. And while, most populations work with both left and right brain, it probably is fair to say that most senior executive ranks have drawn more on the left brain skills traditionally.
Well, how exactly are consumers and employees challenging company leaders?
Well, we found that there's a segment of the population, and it's actually a full 30% on both the employee side and the consumer side, that we're calling pathfinders. This is a very powerful group. The people in this group actually feel not only empowered, but actually responsible to society for raising their concerns and interests to the most senior levels of an organization. And they are very powerful. If you're talking about employees, they are twice as likely to be on the fast track to the executive ranks. If you're talking about the consumer pathfinders, they're over 80% more likely to pay a premium for products. So if you get them on their side, they could be a real asset. But without that, they could actually be a threat.
A threat? Really? How so?
Well, I would say don't listen to them and you're operating at your peril. We've all seen the social media campaigns against individual companies that take hold and go viral because companies may choose not to engage in an effective way with somebody who's very vocal.
So C-suite executives then are more willing now to listen and to change?
They are. While less than 10% say they're using whole brain thinking today, actually over 80%, I think it was 85%, said they plan to in the next 3 years. And the vast majority of them have already started building the critical skills they need to exhibit whole brain thinking.
When it comes to these critical skills that need to change, how do leaders who've typically been more left than right-brained change overnight?
Well, I don't think it does change overnight. I think it takes some discipline and some creativity. We would recommend that companies consider 4 different techniques. The first being shake up the C-suite. Think about adding to the executive ranks from an industry that is perhaps more fast-moving, maybe disruptive, perhaps the high-tech industry or companies that are known for their agile ways. Number 2, actually bring other employees from various ranks into the C-suite, into the company leaders group to think about and talk about issues and opportunities so they're getting representation from across the various levels of their company. Number 3, actually employ what we call design thinking, and that is human-centered. So you actually put the pathfinders' interests and concerns at the center of all of your solution planning and shaping. And number 4, practice. Actually use case studies, use role-based scenarios so you can actually work through some of these topics, applying right brain thinking in a safe environment.
Does that also mean that company culture has to change?
Well, obviously it depends on the companies, but yes, I think we've interviewed a number of CEOs who said that the cultures that are about learning, continuous improvement, and being open demonstrate a big difference in their results. And so we would absolutely encourage that.
All right, so companies overall are going to benefit if their executives adopt this new approach. What about employees? How do they make their wants, needs, and aspirations known in a safe way?
Yeah, I think as we've seen, the group, at least the Pathfinders, are not hesitant to reach out to company leaders at all. They will absolutely, go on social media, send an email, be as public as they can with their ideas and thoughts. In fact, in that group of employees, over 60% have already reached out to the most senior levels of their organization. So it's not something they have a problem with. I think the idea is how to engage in a positive dialogue with the most senior leaders so that you can affect actual change.
Well, so the stakeholders, the pathfinders, if you will, have the power to destabilize business?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's a double-edged sword. They have the power, and we've all seen, the cases where something goes viral and you can actually see how companies are affected by not addressing or listening to some of their stakeholders. On the other hand, they can be your most positive assets if you can corral the power of the Pathfinders group and have them work to your advantage.
A human-centered approach to leadership. Sounds like a novel idea.
It's really something that's taken hold. It really started in design and advertising, but the idea of understanding every need from an individual's point of view, so you're not designing from what you want to sell, but instead the user's actual needs and interests. And we're just saying apply the same sort of thinking here. Actually have company leaders and C-suite members think about those stakeholders, what their issues are, and put themselves in those stakeholders' shoes.
And it also seems like a more organic approach. So where can we go for some more information about the report?
Sure. They can go to accenture.com/wholebrain.
My guest has been Katherine Lavelle, Managing Director and Global Talent Organization North America Lead at Accenture Strategy. We've been talking about their latest report called Whole Brain Leadership, the new rules of engagement for the C-suite. Check it out. Thanks so much for joining me, Katherine.
Thank you, Audrey.
There's more to come on Talk with Audrey. I'll be right back.